Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Salady. We are coming to you live once again to chat about the honors project. Today we'll be covering the final two benchmarks, so benchmarks 3 and 4. So today we'll be focused mostly on documenting your honors project experiences and then preparing you for graduation and to present your findings. All right, so there's two refresher slides here, no more, no less, I promise. We have seen these before, not going to harp on these too much, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was in one place for you so that these are included in the slides, but you have seen these now twice in the benchmarks 1 and 2 webinars here. So this is an overview of the honors project requirements. And then these are the basics here. So again, just to recap, the honors project must span more than one semester. So it must be a multi-semester spanning project. Say that 3 times fast, right? We are looking for a total of 300 plus logged hours of experience or 6+ credits of academic credit in total for the entire project, again, spread out over at least 2 semesters as evenly as you can. And then we need someone to, confirm you did those hours at the end of the day and can serve as a point of expertise to advise you on your project if needed. So those are our only 2 refresher slides. So why are we watching this webinar today? So maybe you have already found your honors project experience and want to know what you should be doing either along the way, or you have completed your experiences or they're wrapping up and you're curious how you're going to prep for these final 2 benchmarks here. Maybe you are graduating soon again, or your project is wrapping up early. Or maybe you're like me, you're super type A, we are planning ahead. You have not yet found an experience for your honors project, or you're between a couple different options here, but you're just looking for tips in advance in order to make the most out of your experience down the road. And I love that for you. So before we jump in here, just one more slide, I promise. This is how things are laid out. Again, since this is on YouTube and our website, there are timestamps where you can jump around to sections relevant to you, or you can skip ahead or repeat things if you need more elaboration here. But this is the process we're going to follow today. So again, documentation is our best friend. We're going to talk about guidelines there and what to kind of track for your experiences. We'll talk about the benchmark 3 survey, the benchmark 4 sign-up survey, and then of course the honors project symposium. We'll spend a bit of time there and then wrap up with some general tips and resources. So this is my favorite slide ever. Once you find your experiences, again, documentation is our best friend. We want to track absolutely everything. So some good things to note would be when you start and end your experiences and the total hours worked. So we want to know how much time you put into your honors project experiences. And then of course, when those experiences commenced and then finished up, simply to make sure that we are having a multi-semester spanning project here. We also want to know who, supervised you along the way, who, served as a point of expertise in your field and could help and can sign off on your hours at the end of the day. So at a minimum, so far, start and end dates, total hours, and then your supervisor info. Those are all things that you should absolutely be documenting here. And then, of course, these last three guys here, they are more so optional, but excellent prep, both for your honors project symposium down the road, but also how you reflect on your experiences in general. So good things to track would be accomplishments and tasks that you achieved along the way, maybe special trainings that you went through, or, what kind of teams you were able to collaborate with. And then, of course, this guy at the end is my favorite here, pictures and visual aids. So this guy's working hard. He's running around the track, but he's smiling. He's having a good time. So I hope that is relevant to most of our honors project experiences. So you are doing tough, wonderful, incredible things, but hopefully you're able to reflect positively on these experiences. So we would love to see that. Now, when it comes to what should documentation look like, this can kind of vary by project. So Some of us might have a pay stub or a timesheet or hourly log kind of built in to your project experiences. For some of us, we might need to start from scratch a bit more to kind of have a more individualized approach. I am good with whatever works for you, so we can talk about the different types of documentation down the road. But again, why are we tracking all of these things? Of course, to make sure that we are following the honors project requirements, but also so you can add these things to PebblePad if you are on the new Gen Ed, maybe Handshake or LinkedIn down the road for your resume for those wonderful interviews, right? So the honors project, of course, is going to help you throughout the ASC honors program and undergrad, but we hope that it can also serve as an accomplishment down the road when you need it. All right, so again, we have seen this slide before, just with different parts highlighted. So let's recap on the timeline here again. Benchmarks 1 and 2 are kind of locked in time-wise. So the month of May of your first year in undergrad, and then the end of year 2. Benchmarks 3 and 4, remember in survey, I said they are fair game to submit whenever your project is wrapping up. So remember, these are due before graduation. We do have more specific, due dates that we'll talk about, but in total, benchmarks 3 and 4 are due before graduation. But of course, if your experience wraps up before then, I would encourage you to reflect on those experiences while they're still fresh. So the honors project report is a survey we'll talk about. So this is the reflection. Tell us what you got out of your honors project kind of experience here. And then benchmark 4, of course, is the honors project symposium. So this is your opportunity to show us what you got out of your honors project in that final presentation here. So this timeline is designed to span the full 4 years of undergrad, but we recognize that people graduate early. Your experience may be done well before graduation. So that's kind of why the second half of the honors project timeline is a bit more flexible. Now, I will say you can begin working on your honors project at any time. You can always change your idea at any time. Just let me know. I do ask when we're talking about the timeline that you wait to submit benchmarks 3 and 4 until you receive your feedback email from your benchmark 2 submission. So I try to get through those relatively quick. So turn in benchmark 2, wait for my feedback, and then if things have wrapped up by then, benchmarks 3 and 4 are again fair game. You can also email me at any time to change your idea or expedite the process. We are happy to make this timeline catered to your undergraduate experience. All right, so let's dive into benchmark 3 here. It's going to look very similar to benchmarks 1 and 2. It is a Qualtrics survey, should take you, 5 to 10 minutes. So remember, we said this is due before graduation. Specifically, benchmark 3 is due by the last day of class of your final semester and or the semester in which you participate in the honors project symposium. And I know that's ambiguous. It is simply because that last day of class, that date changes with every semester. So just remember, it is due by the last day of class once you are getting ready to present at the symposium and or graduate. So I know that's tough to remember. You might want to look ahead at the registrar calendar. However, once your experience is wrapping up, again, I would just go ahead and get benchmark 3 out of the way so you don't have to worry about this later. So what are we using benchmark 3 for? We are using it as the reflection component of your honors project. So hopefully you were able to connect your experiences to your professional and personal goals or growth along the way. This is your opportunity to tell us how your experience is connected if we were doing any kind of combination project. This is, not required, but kind of a bonus here. This is a great opportunity to brainstorm what your presentation medium might be for the honors project symposium. So to get you thinking about that. And then also it serves as a portal to upload all that lovely documentation that we'll talk about. So all of your timesheets and, academic credit and I don't know, any other relevant documentation, there's actually a spot for you to upload this within the benchmark 3 survey. And of course, you can always email me on the side, but this is kind of designed to be a one-stop shop here. So that's the benchmark 3 survey. And then again, we want to get you brainstorming about what your final product might look like for your honors project. So when it comes to a deliverable, so a tangible outcome or a final outcome of your honors project, it is a-okay, I promise, if things are still, in the works, if that due date comes up before the symposium presentation. So we just want to get you thinking, what did I get out of my honors project in addition to great experience, right? So did you earn academic credit? Did you get some hours logged with a supervisor? Especially for those creative projects, was the final outcome a novel or an art installation or a musical or some kind of other medium? This can also be an outcome, a combination of outcomes, sorry. So if you combined, research with a novel, right? Those two, you might have two very different looking outcomes, or you might have one that combines those experiences into a final presentation, right? I know this is vague on purpose, guys. We do that simply because there is no right or wrong way to deliver, what you got out of your honors project. So I would encourage you to reach out if you have questions or want to run ideas by me, but these are just some examples. So credit, hours, any kind of final product for your honors project. And then we talked about making sure we are logging our hours here. So what can that look like? Again, this might vary by experience. So I'm happy to accept whatever works for you and your supervisor. So if you have a pay stub or timesheet built into your experience, great. Don't do anything else. Just, upload that timesheet. We also have a template that I can send you of your, your final hours if your supervisor just wants to confirm on your total hours worked down the road. They can even email me with, your name, your start and end date, and your total hours. That has been done before. That's absolutely fine. And then if your, your final outcome was academic credit, or part of your final outcome was academic credit, you can upload a copy of your advising report, but you absolutely do not have to. And I'll say, guys, you can always email me things on the side, but especially with advising reports, we are not, of course, the Qualtrics survey is secure, but I'm not going to require you to upload your advising report. I am more than capable of looking that up, but the only reason I include it here is because sometimes I know it feels good to not, leave that documentation component blank. So if you're not worried about it, just go ahead and chuck the advising report in there, but it is not absolutely required. What else? If your documentation is in the works, so maybe that last day of class has come up and you are still finishing up your internship or your creative project. So maybe you still have a couple more hours to go. That is absolutely fine. I do ask to just submit what you can and do your best by that last day of class in the semester in which it is due, and send me the rest of your documentation later in an email. Please don't submit benchmark 3 multiple times. So again, if any of this doesn't make sense, please reach out and I'm happy to walk you through it. But that's benchmark 3. So it's just a Qualtrics survey. Again, we're reflecting on our experience and we are uploading our documentation. Now, benchmark 4, there's kind of 2 parts to the benchmark 4 requirement. So the honors project symposium is kind of its own thing. You'll notice that there is a benchmark 4 survey, and that's just simply to sign up. So that is to indicate in which semester you want to participate in the honors project symposium. So for many of us, this might be the semester in which we graduate, but it absolutely does not have to. So the benchmark survey is due no later than 2 weeks into your final semester and or the symposium semester. So again, if things wrap up early or you have a summer experience and you're like, I know for sure I want to participate in, the following fall or spring semester, just go ahead and submit. You can never submit too early, the benchmark 4 survey, I promise. So I encourage you to complete this as soon as you know what semester you want to present in. And of course, let me know if things change, but I will reach out to you manually down the road when it comes to actual details about the honors project symposium. So simply submitting the sign-up sheet does not sign you up for, it's really just an indicator telling me what semester you want to present in, but it does not satisfy your entire benchmark 4 submission requirement. All right, this is also used to tell us what kind of equipment you might need for your presentation. So if you need, I don't know, a fog machine, right? Or any kind of AV equipment, that gives us a little bit of time to kind of plan ahead and work on those logistics. So that's the Honors Project Symposium sign-up survey. Now, the second half, of course, is the Honors Project Symposium, which we'll move on to after this slide. But I do want to emphasize that not everyone may have to present in the Honors Project Symposium, but of course, everyone is welcome and encouraged to present in the Honors Project Symposium. But I realize we might already be doing things that kind of that satisfy the show us what you got out of your project kind of experience here. So again, remember, if you are doing an honors thesis project, remember your final oral defense that may take the place of your honors project symposium if you wish. Maybe you are doing STEP and you're doing the STEP Expo, which is required by STEP. As long as your entire honors project makeup is part of your, STEP presentation, that's fair game to use in place of benchmark 4 here. If you're doing the Denman, if you are in the Stamps Eminence program, they have their own symposium, conference presentations. So this is not an exhaustive list. If you have an alternative forum idea, please reach out to see if this could satisfy your benchmark 4 requirement. So what are we looking for here? Again, since a thesis works as is for your honors project, the oral defense will work as is for your honors project symposium replacement. However, for example, we might have used our STEP funding to study abroad, but that was only half of our honors project, right? If in any case your honors project is not fully covered by the alternative forum, you must also participate in the honors project symposium. This also goes if your alternative forum was kind of based on a group presentation or a group project. Unless it's your individual work only, you must also participate in the honors project symposium. You are also able to use the same poster, presentation, PowerPoint to satisfy whatever the alternative forum is, as well as the honors project symposium, if you choose to participate in both. So don't worry about creating a unique one for us. But again, that's as long as your entire honors project is covered within that alternative presentation. So on the right-hand side here, if any of these guidelines are not met, then you must participate in the honors project symposium. All right. So what the heck is the symposium, right? So this is kind of the end all be all, kind of show us what you got out of your honors project experience. So again, remember we said benchmark 4. So there's 2 parts to benchmark 4. There's the sign up survey and then participating in the symposium or other approved forum. So the deadline for these are to present in the symposium is during the final semester or end of year 4, whichever of those comes first. So again, the date's going to vary each semester, but it's usually the last couple of weeks during the semester is when the symposium will take place, just because we recognize certain experiences might go up until the very end here. So for many of us, again, the honors project symposium semester might correlate with what semester we are graduating in, but it doesn't have to. I recommend to do the symposium component once your project wraps up. Again, reflect on those experiences while they're still fresh. Alternatives to this would be if your experience wraps up over the summer. I anticipate that the summer symposiums that will exist, they probably won't be as big as the fall and spring events. So in that case, if you ever wanted to wait until the following semester to participate in the symposium, that is absolutely fine. But again, if you are graduating over the summer or just want to get it out of the way, we will have summer symposiums. They just might be a bit smaller. We do aim to have most of the honors project symposiums be in person on campus, but we recognize we might be, studying abroad or unable to travel to the Columbus campus for any reason. So we will have virtual or recorded options for those of us that can't make it to campus. These events will also be free and open to the public. So we have our very first symposium presentation happening this April of 2024. So please be on the lookout for that information in your newsletter and on our website. If you are unable to travel to Columbus campus, or if you're studying abroad, again, I would suggest waiting to participate in the symposium until you are able to be back on campus. But if that is not possible, please contact me as soon as possible if you're needing virtual accommodations. With that being said, whether virtual or in person, these events are free, open to the Ohio State community and beyond. So we would encourage you to invite your mentor, invite your friends, invite your evil roommate, right? So invite whoever would be relevant and excited to see your symposium presentation. So what happens at the symposium? So I will say this varies project to project. The presentation medium is up to you. So that just means what technique will you be using to present your findings? So popular ones we anticipate seeing would be poster presentations, maybe a PowerPoint or a slideshow, a short film or video, a musical performance, maybe a reading from your newly published star novel, right? So we are really relying on you guys. You are the expert of your project and experience. So we leave it up to you to determine what would be most appropriate for your project type. Similar to other symposiums and forums here, aim for around a 30-minute window in which you are presenting. So to give you a heads up, this will likely be a big open space where multiple presenters will be in the same room, and the public and community will be able to walk between presentations. So you are going to stand, at your easel or, by your projector or what have you for a full 30-minute stretch here. So you are by all means able to, do a 20-30-minute presentation that takes the full time. What I would recommend is forming a kind of elevator pitch idea, if you are familiar with that approach. So a, 5, maybe a little bit more, 5-minute long kind of pitch or presentation or overview that you repeat over the span of those 30 minutes. And again, this is just because community members will be browsing freely between the different presentations. So, we want them to be able to, at a glance or at a glimpse, be able to see what your project is about. Maybe you can reel them in and they'll hear it again, right? So our goal is to not really, roast you guys about your performance at the symposium. It's really going to be pass, non-pass to certify you for graduation. So 1, did you attend and present at the Honors Project Symposium? And 2, was it substantial by any means? So did you have any kind of deliverable or presentation that was of quality, right? All right. So what to include in the presentation? Again, this is really up to you to determine what is appropriate and relevant for your project idea, but some things, remember that track visual that we saw that would be pretty good to include, right? Would be your name, absolutely. Your start and end date of those experiences, again, to confirm that it is a multi-semester spanning project. And then some kind of reflection component, which we can leave up to you. Recommended to include that I think people would be interested in if they were browsing by your project would be your majors and minors, pre-professional tracks, especially if any of those are relevant to your project experiences, maybe your intended graduation semester, maybe you're acknowledging a PI or a supervisor or an organization or any kind of funding opportunities that you may have received relevant to your project. Of course, pictures and visual aids are always a great way to break up text. And then remember those project categories from survey class. Absolutely not required to fit your project into any one or a combination of any of these project categories, right? But it if you feel the need to include, maybe it was a study abroad mixed with research experience, go ahead and slap that on, your poster, your visual, or your title card. Again, so at a glance, people can kind of see what kind of project they're walking into. For creative projects, again, we just use the example of a poster or video or presentation simply because that's probably what most of us will do. But we also realize other presentation mediums exist. So if you are doing a short film screening or a musical or any kind of thing where it's more abstract or free flowing, or something that kind of doesn't have a beginning and an end, or it's an art installation, we do recommend having some kind of physical or digital title card in front of your presentation to accompany it. Just again with your name, start and end date, a little bit about your reflection of the experience, all that good stuff, just so people can tell what your project is. So this might be a QR code that people can scan when they walk into your, your area or your booth. It might be you have just a cardstock or a poster saying a little bit about your project that people can glance at. So that's something that I would recommend including. What else? I am reading my notes here. This is a reminder, guys. I did circle the little handshake down here in the right-hand corner. Again, remember from survey class, this is our service learning category or component. A reminder that service learning coursework is actual coursework that you enroll in. So it is a course at Ohio State that has the letter S as in Sam in the course number. So this is a class with actual content that has a service component. So it is not traditional volunteering or mentorship that you do on your own time or TAing. It is really just that categories for service learning courses only. So if you are incorporating any kind of other volunteering mentorship experience within your presentation, I would just be careful about including the service learning category if that was not relevant to your project. I know that caused a lot of confusion last year, but hopefully this gives us an idea of what to include in your presentation. Again, you're going to stand there for 30 minutes. Most of the community will not stand at one presentation for 30 minutes. So I would advise you to make things, easy to draw people in at a glance, but also just give them an overview of your project. All right. So for some of us, I know I keep talking about, posters and videos. For some of us, the layout of our presentation might be pretty straightforward, especially if you did like a research project or a thesis, or, you had to do a step poster that you are kind of representing here. Maybe you are including a hypothesis finding. So kind of the building blocks of your presentation kind of follow a flow. They kind of make sense for your field, but others might be more abstract, and that is awesome. So again, it is up to you to determine what is most appropriate for your honors project experiences and translate this into a presentation, right? So ideas to include might be a description of your experience, how it impacts what you do next. So did it influence your personal and professional goals? Did it, you already had those goals and it kind of solidified them or helped you along the way? They are resume builders. How did it impact you? How did you grow along the way as a result of your experience throughout undergrad? Maybe how you'll use this experience to influence your future. So again, what you'll do next. Lots of visual aids would be awesome. Maybe a favorite part of your experience. Again, maybe if you received specific funding or an organization was instrumental along the way, or a mentor was instrumental along the way, it could be a nice way to give them a shout out as part of your presentation. So all that to say, guys, things may look very different depending on what type of project you did. I'll also say even if your project type might have a presentation medium that makes sense. So research translating to a poster, for instance, you are not locked in. Again, it is up to you to determine what medium is most appropriate for you and your experiences and what's relevant to you. So if you are unsure after all of this about how to translate your ideas into a presentation format, please let me know. Would love to chat about this with you. All right, so we are wrapping up here. Some resources, especially when it comes to the symposium and the project in general. When we are looking at technology, there are, wonderful free products out there like Canva, PowerPoint, Prezi. If we're looking for the more kind of slideshow route or visual aid route, there is also the Digital Union that offers free 3D printing if that's relevant to you, lasers. You can print a poster there. There's art, video, and audio studio equipment that you can rent out. They can help you with Photoshop and video editing and recording a voiceover and scanning photos and all that good stuff. So definitely check them out. They are included in your student fees, right? If we are printing a poster, I would highly recommend going through Uniprint. So there are multiple locations around campus that vary in cost. Speaking of cost, there are funding opportunities when it comes to your project in general. So maybe your project along the way and not so much the final product here, right? But the Honors and Scholars Office has enrichment grants that are specifically for academic and creative projects for honor students. There is the Undergraduate Research Scholarship and International Research Grant that is run through our office. So definitely check out the URS and IRG on our website. So those are more for research and international travel related costs. The Office of International Affairs and the Global Ed Office also have scholarships and initiatives all the time that I would recommend you checking out. And then, of course, if you think of any costs, especially when it comes to your symposium presentation, please let me know. There is additional funding available. So while we cannot, of course, fund every cost associated with your honors project experience, please, please, please let me know if you encounter a financial need, and we will do our best to support you. So this might look like costs associated with printing a poster for your presentation, renting an instrument for that performance, traveling to Columbus campus if you are not on campus, for regional campus students and what have you. So there is funding available. I would encourage you to take up space, make the most of your resources, and explore what's out there. All right, so second to last slide here, just to wrap up. Again, documentation is our best friend. I know for us type A folks, documentation truly is our best friend, but it might not be as intuitive for everyone, and that is okay. So prep for your presentation during your experience. So I would not suggest, reflecting and creating everything from scratch after your experience has ended and you're like, why did I do that experience for my honors project, right? You've probably already figured out your why during your benchmark 2 submission and when thinking of honors project experiences in general. So I would use your actual work along the way to influence how you want to talk about it later. Again, the Honors Project Symposium is required unless you're participating in another approved forum, and as long as that approved forum houses all of the experiences that make up your honors project. We would encourage you to tailor your presentations to your needs, wants, interests. So something that's relevant and interesting to you that will cause you to light up when you talk about your project in front of the community. Again, take up space. Don't be afraid to ask for help and utilize your resources. It can't hurt just to check them out. And again, if you are on the new Gen Ed, you should plan on including this in your final product in your e-portfolio. So I don't monitor your e-portfolio usage, but that's kind of one of the main goals. And you want to be proud about your honors project, right? You do have an end product kind of built in, so it would be great to reflect on that with your e-portfolio. You can also upload your final product to LinkedIn or Handshake, or just keep it, for your records down the road. So those are my wrap-ups here. And then finally, again, please reach out if you have any questions pertaining to the honors project. You can email me and we can chat. We can set up an appointment. I am here to help. All right, so I hope you guys are enjoying your honors project experiences so far, and that I look forward to seeing how you'll reflect on them down the road. Please think about joining us for our first ever Honors Project Symposium in April of 2024. It will be on Zoom. Keep an eye on the newsletter for more info there. But yeah, utilize your resources, take up space, and I am here if you need me. Thanks for watching.